Hi, and welcome once again to Reading Through the Bible Chronologically. This coming week, we're going to spend most of our time in the book of Judges, and then we'll give some attention to that very little short book called Ruth, and begin a couple of chapters into 1 Samuel. As we study the book of Judges, one of the key phrases that occurs is, every man did what was right in his own eyes. I used to think that that was a good thing, that people did what was right. But I forgot the rest of the phrase that says they did what was right in their own eyes. This is largely situational ethics. It means that every man decided for himself, not according to the law of God, but according to his own devices, what he thought was good and what he thought was bad. As a result, Israel would continually get into trouble, and God would send them in his mercy champions or leaders that would lead them out of it. Thus, we read the story of Gideon and of Samson and of Deborah, a woman judge who led Israel. And we learn a lot about the fact that God can use the most unusual people. Gideon was a coward. Samson had a problem with sexual immorality and was attracted to other women. And so as we read the book of Judges, be sensitive to the fact that God is using unlikely people to bring deliverance to Israel, and he can use some of us who are least likely to be effective in terms of spiritual development. When we come to Ruth, a very small book, we learn something very, very important. Ruth ended up marrying the great-grandfather of David. And so she appears in the Bible because she has an important role to play in David, the greatest, truly greatest king of Israel. Solomon might have been king over more territory, but David was a great leader and a man after God's own heart. And so Ruth sets the stage for the ultimate birth of David. And then we begin in 1 Samuel, and we learn about God's leadership of Samuel and of his work and love for God and of his devotion. You read in those early chapters how it came to be that Samuel was such a devoted servant of the Lord. And I encourage you, when you get there, to ponder and think about what it would be like for a woman in that day, and even today for that matter, to be barren or childless and to suffer immensely because she longed for a child. And she promised God that if he would give her a child, she would give that one back to God and devote him to God's purposes. And hence Samuel comes upon the scene, and we learn about how God uses him throughout the history of Israel in that period of time. So I hope that you get a lot out of your reading. There are many stories, and I don't say that as if they were not true. They are true historically, but they are accounts, stories that have morals, that teach us about the nature and the work of God, and I truly hope that you gain the benefit of reading and studying those. Once again, this is Paul Martin, pastor of the Alliance Bible Church of McHenry, Illinois. If you would like to send us communication, you can email us at mchenryalliance@yahoo.com, or you can find us on the web at mchenryalliance.com. Thanks for joining. Thanks for reading. Let's receive a blessing from our reading together. God bless. Have a great week.